Oh, hi.
Bonjour, monsieur. Would you like me to foretell your future?
No thanks.
I'm very good. It only takes a minute.
Thanks all the same, but I'm not superstitious. Besides, if it only takes a minute, that's not much of a future to look forward to. Do you know a young woman called Nico Collard?
Yes, I do. She lives upstairs from me in the apartment block across the street. The door isn't locked, but you'll need to give it a gentle nudge. It sticks, you see. Because of the damp. The landlord said he'd fix it before winter sets in. He's been saying that for 3 years.
Are the flowers for sale?
Oui, monsieur.
Okay. I'll take a bunch of those white ones.
I wouldn't do that if I was you.
No?
They are lilies, monsieur. Some people associate them with death.
Yikes. Well, thanks for telling me. What other flowers do you have?
Dahlias?
What do they signify?
Insecurity?
I don't want to give her the wrong idea about me. What about the tall yellow ones?
Those are iris, the flame of passion.
And the little yellow ones?
Sensuality.
Well, they're no use to me. I want to make an impression, not jump down her throat. How long has Mademoiselle Collard lived here?
A few months. She's in for a shock when the cold weather comes. Drafty windows, insufficient heating. It's a struggle to keep warm. The only reason I stay is because the rent is cheap. Your young lady, she deserves better.
I thought Mademoiselle Collard was a successful photographer.
Not as successful as she makes out for all her fine clothes. Oh, I've heard her crying herself to sleep at night.
That's awful.
Now don't you let on that I've told you. She's proud, that one. Too proud, if you ask me.
Have you seen anyone out here watching Mademoiselle Collard's apartment?
Yes, I have. A strange man. Tall and thin as a broomstick. He kept his face hidden, but I saw his eyes peering from evil little slits.
How was he dressed?
A long brown raincoat with an hat.
Or like Humphrey Bogart?
Yes, but he didn't have Bogart's charisma. Besides, this guy looked like he needed a toilet. You never saw Bogart clenching his buttocks like that.
Is there anything else you can tell me about Mademoiselle Collard?
No, monsieur.
See you later.
That's right, monsieur, you will.
Remembering the flower seller's advice, I pushed the door gently just above the lock. Hi.
Bonjour. I'm glad you could make it, monsieur.
Please, call me George.
Fine. I'm Nicole. Take a seat, George. Eh bien? And what have you been up to?
I've been exploring the sewers underneath the cafe.
I thought I could smell something bad.
The clown used the sewer to escape and to change out of his costume. I guess he was in a hurry. He left his jacket behind.
And?
I got his tailor's phone number.
You had better luck than I did.
Luck, she said. Luck. Hard work, I'd call it. What happened?
My editor told me to drop this story. Can you believe it?
But you're not going to do that.
Oh, no. I'm going to find out what's behind these killings. It just doesn't add up. It almost feels like some sort of conspiracy. The police in 3 different countries have kept very quiet about the murders. The press don't connect them at all. They blame them on political, religious, or militant minority extremists.
Well, that covers just about everyone. Tell me more about the clown's previous victims.
The first was Arnaud Bellotta, the millionaire pharmaceutical baron. He made his money from amphetamines in the post-war slimming and diet boom. Imagine it, millions of housewives literally speeding their butts off. The only witness in the case was his Filipino au pair. She swears he was lured to his death by a snowman.
What about the clown's second victim?
Yamada, the controversial Japanese politician. He inherited his fortune from his father's electrochemical consortium.
How did he die?
At the hands, or should I say flippers, of a giant emperor penguin.
A snowman, a penguin, and now a clown.
I had been about to add mime to the list, but stopped myself. I really didn't want to have to explain to George about my father's involvement with Carchon.
You know, I hate to admit it, but this is scary. And I'll tell you this, I will not be accepting any invitations to costume parties.
I don't blame you for being scared. I am too. But this story could be my only chance for a big break.
Or an early death. Tell me more about yourself.
There's nothing much to tell.
Well, how'd you get into photography?
I guess I owe that to my father. He bought me my first camera. I was 8, and my parents had just split up.
Did you live with your father?
Yes. My mother went off with her new boyfriend. I didn't mind. Papa was all I needed. 4 years later, he died in a plane crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind talking about him. He was more like an older brother, really. Always joking and laughing. Papa always wanted me to study art. That's why I went to college.
Did you learn about photography at college?
God, no. I couldn't afford the materials. We were billed for everything we used. Paint, canvas, paper. Most of my year turned to minimalism. It was cheaper. I used to go poaching in the park for squirrel hair. The only time I wasn't hungry was the term I did printing. I used to eat the potatoes.
You're making fun of me, aren't you?
Oh, no.
This is the tool I used to get into the sewers.
Fascinating, George.
You're not interested, are you?
Oh, of course I am. I think it was very brave of you to go down those sewers.
Yeah? Well, it was kind of scary, but... Well, I had a job to do. I found this false nose in the sewer.
Hey, what's this inside it?
The contents of someone's nose?
Don't be cross, George. It says La Risée du Monde. Masks and costumes. It's a costume shop near the Gare Saint-Lazare.
I'll check it out. Maybe the owner remembers who hired the clown costume. I found this tissue down the sewer.
That's disgusting, George.
No. I think the stuff on it is grease paint, like actors use, or clowns.
It's still disgusting. Get rid of it.
I found a piece of material near the cafe. When I showed it to the concierge, he recognized it right away.
It's very distinctive, all right. Just wait until you see this. I developed a film I shot at the cafe. Here, George. It's an enlargement I made. Look what that guy's wearing.
Checkered pants. The same material as I found in the sewer.
That's right. This guy shouldn't be difficult to find.
Oh, no?
Take a close look at his right cheek.
A scar in the shape of a horseshoe.
Or a crescent moon.
How come you enlarged this photograph of me?
Because I noticed the guy behind you, of course.
I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome. Leave the mundane world behind, for in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible! You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then, I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui, he was here this morning. That is the man to whom I sold the grease paint. I remember the scar on his face. He chose 2 costumes, Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Hello? Who is this?
Mr. Todrick?
Oh, it's you again. What now?
The man I'm looking for is called Khan. He bought a suit from you, remember?
Mr. Khan. Yes, I remember him. Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his right cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer.
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England, Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear, with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human, too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobbart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, you're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin!
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobbart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honour. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin.
What now, monsieur?
I believe Khan, the man with the scar, is also known as Merlin, the man who has taken room 22.
What of it? What do you want?
Access to his room.
Do you have a license, monsieur?
Huh?
A private investigator's license?
Well, not exactly, but I can explain everything.
I am sorry, but without credentials, I cannot help.
I insist you give me the key to Merlin's room.
I cannot do that, monsieur.
This guy Merlin is a menace.
So you say, monsieur.
He's not only a danger to society, but to your guests as well. He has toyed with the affections of Lady Piermont.
Ciel! Are there no depths to which he will not sink?
Precisely. He's already killed once, twice, maybe as many as 3 times. With your help, I just might be able to stop him.
But what if he finds out I have helped you? No, I cannot do it. Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You are trying to steal that key, no?
No way.
What now, monsieur?
About the key hanging on the hook over there.
Oui, monsieur.
Which room is it for?
Number 21.
Is that room taken?
No. The guests checked out this morning.
I'd like to check into room 21.
That is not possible.
How come? You said it was vacant.
It is reserved for another guest.
Rats.
No, monsieur. Dutch.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hemel Hempstead. That was until last night.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
Oh, no. It's the key to an empty room.
And why, may I ask, do you wish to gain access to an empty room? Do you plan to squat?
No, ma'am.
Scout's honor?
I was never in the Boy Scouts, ma'am.
Oh, you should have been. What were your parents thinking of? It's a fine way for a boy to get licked into shape. Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
Ah, so you plan to eavesdrop on Merlin?
I was hoping there might be a connecting door.
Well, how can I refuse? I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case, but a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there! Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantar carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but, as I'd half expected, it was empty. It was Khan. I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. As Khan opened the wardrobe, I was sure I was dead. But he grabbed his pants quickly and didn't even see me. I didn't usually spy on men getting changed. But this guy was a killer, and I didn't want any surprises. He left his checkered pants on the bed. A strip along the side seam of the pants had been unpicked, then sewn back up with strong thread and a special stitch. I had that kind of feeling you only get from searching still warm pants. There was nothing in the pocket. I flipped the pants over. I found an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. But as I pulled it from the pocket, a strong thread came with it. A thread with a metal tag on the end. I pulled on the metal tag and the thread came out of the pants. It was like pulling out a ripcord. I found nothing in the pocket. I turned the pants over again. I searched the pocket gingerly and found a pass card. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
What now, monsieur?
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that. A murderer? Are you sure?
Positive. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces. I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers. But he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George! Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment. I couldn't leave the hotel with the manuscript. It was probably what those thugs were looking for. The cobbles of the alleyway looked very distant and very hard. I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript. But I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check. Nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. Hi, how are you?
Oh, hi. Come in, George.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Not anymore. There was someone. A guy in my final year, but it didn't work out. Neither did my degree.
I'm sorry.
I'm not.
You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the Ubu.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantark?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse? Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover? It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
A knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam Mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin. Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, "Mirror, mirror on the wall," wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid. Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either.
Look there, 2 guys on the same horse. Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobineau.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobineau guy?
At the Krone Museum. I'll give you the address.
I have to go.
Okay. Don't forget to look for Lobineau at the Krone Museum.
In the case was a spindly tripod, blackened with age and pitted with rust. It was identical to the tripod pictured on the manuscript. A notice identified it as 15th century from Western Ireland. It had been found in Loch Marne at the site of a Knights Templar preceptory. Ireland!
What's that?
This tripod was found in Ireland.
I will have to ask you to keep your voice down.
I'm sorry, I was excited. Pardon me.
Oui, monsieur?
Are you Lobineau?
Oh, no. Fancy you mistaking me for him. No. I am the deputy custodian.
But Lobineau does work here.
Work? I wouldn't go so far as to call it that. He studies here most days, but as you can see for yourself, not today.
Can you give me any further information about the tripod?
Certainly, monsieur. It's infamous. That tripod, that belonged to John Dee.
What's the importance of John Dee's tripod?
Dee was the most famous escapologist of the 16th century. The Houdini of his time.
Don't you mean alchemist? Escapologists use ropes, chains, and handcuffs, not tripods.
Well, whatever he was, that is the tripod he used in his experiments.
What kind of experiments did John Dee perform with his tripod?
Oh, the usual. Didn't you study chemistry at school?
Yeah, but we skipped over thaumatology. Can I take a closer look at the tripod?
What? Get it out of the case? Ah, no! That tripod is protected by a sophisticated surveillance system.
How sophisticated?
A painfully loud alarm bell.
How is the alarm bell triggered?
By the slightest pressure on or movement of any part of the case wherein that tripod is situated.
It strikes me that to call your alarm system sophisticated is, well, stretching the truth a little.
It has never failed yet. The sophistication is in its simplicity.
Do you know anything about medieval manuscripts?
Not me, monsieur. I am no scholar. Though people often mistake me for one. It is the uniform, I guess. They see the clothes. They are impressed.
And they ask you to park their cars?
They ask me to park the... No. They assume I am an authority on the exhibits in my care.
Whereas you know next to nothing about history.
Of course not. All I am saying is, I am no scholar. Not like Monsieur Lobineau.
Do you know anything about the Knights of the Temple?
No, sir. not a sausage.
The sign on the tripod says it was found at a Templar preceptory.
It does?
Yeah. It doesn't mention John D. at all.
Most remiss.
You don't know anything about the tripod, do you?
No, I don't. I never had much of a start in life, you see. I owe what little education I gained to my uncle. He was an optician, but he also doubled as the village school teacher. He taught me the alphabet. Well, 19 letters of it. The bottom row of the chart was too small even for him to read, so he left them out.
Why don't you start over and enroll for adult education?
You know, I never thought of that. Do you think if I studied hard and did all my homework, I could be a professor of history?
At your age? Dream on. Thanks for your help.
Leave it alone. That closet is over 3,000 years old.
Closet? It's a sarcophagus.
Attention! Please do not open the window, monsieur.
Don't you think it's kind of stuffy in here?
Better stuffy than dead.
What's the problem? Fumes from car exhausts?
Not just that, monsieur. There's a new burger bar opened up across the street. The Laughing Buffalo.
So what's the problem?
They cook their burgers on a charcoal grill, and the fat falls on the open flames. The amount of organic compound and smoke particles released is astounding. Since they opened, local air pollution has doubled, and it stinks like a funeral pyre. That is why I keep the windows closed.
Hi. I've been to the Kroon Museum.
Did you speak to Lobineau?
No, he wasn't there. Tell me more about your family.
When I was a little girl, I used to spend the winter with my grandfather and grandma. They were the best times, warm and safe in their tiny cottage. My grandfather rolled cigarettes while grandma made hot chocolate and cakes. One day, he stopped his scrolling. He put the lid back on his tobacco jar and took me in his arms. I laughed and wriggled, but he hushed me to be silent. With his unshaven chin all scratchy in my ear, he told me his secret.
What did he say?
He said, I don't smoke, but she likes to think I do.
What a weird old man.
Don't call my grandfather weird. He was the nicest guy ever. I wish I was back in that cottage instead of this crummy apartment in this noisy city.
I found the tripod.
Where?
In the museum. It belonged to the Templars. It was dug up in Ireland at a place called Loch Marne.
I have heard of Loch Marne. I read an article about the castle. Take a look for yourself.
A popular gossip magazine? You read that rubbish?
No, I write it.
Professor Nigel Pegram, excavating the medieval castle at Loch Marne. That's strange.
What?
He resigned his chair at Durham University in order to devote his time to the excavation. Not only that, but he canceled the filming of a 4th series of his popular television program. This site at Loch Marne must be awful important to him.
He's a professor of history. They're all cuckoo.
All the same, I'd like to talk to this Professor Pegram. How do you feel about a trip to Ireland?
Disappointed.
Huh?
That I won't be going. I want to follow up the Bellotta case. If you really think Pegram's gem is important, why don't you visit Loch Marne?
On my own? I'm not so sure about that. Where is Ireland exactly? I have to go.
Okay, I'll see you later.